Okay, so let's basically start with the assignment. So let me see, what was the assignment again? With the assignment, was there any difficulty, like any difficulties that you faced during your design process? Was there any difficulty like with respect to the assignment, starting from the first one? Let me know. Pardon? Hey, let me see. Can you hear me now? All right. So, oh, sorry, I forgot this thing was on something else. Okay, so I was saying that let me know if there was any difficulty that you faced during when you were doing your assignment. Let me know. I'm listening, just in case there was any. Pardon?
Assignment for yesterday, ladies' night.
Yes.
I had difficulties with the background.
Okay, difficulties with the background. So what was the main issue with the background?
I could not create the gradients on both, like the one above and down, and I could not shape it the way it was in the original.
Okay. We're talking about this one. Let me see. Okay, this one is for college. Let me just copy it and paste. This one, right?
Yes, this one.
Okay. So, okay, let me look for the original flyer. Let me copy the original flyer and paste it here. Okay, this is the original flyer. Okay, this is the original flyer. Okay, so the main difficulty, there was a difficulty. Actually, this background, most of the time, this kind of background are actually downloaded. Just download and look for it online. Like this background are actually on Pinterest. You need to download and put it here. But then, if the background is still fine, we can still create it. So now, looking at this background, basically we can use a gradient to create it. So how do you do that? Let me just go directly below the background. I'm just going to create my. I'll go to my adjustment layer, and then up there I'm going to click on gradient. Now on gradient, this window is going to pop up. This window is going to pop up. So now I'm just going to click inside, then drag put this one here. So I'm going to double click on this, and then I sample my black color, this darker color down here. I'll take OK. Then up here, then in the middle, I'm going to add another one in the middle, another color stop in the middle, which is just clicking down a little bit. So double clicking here, I'll double click, and then I want to change the color. So in the middle now, I'm going to sample this red, and then click OK. Now at the end, now I'm going to click again and add another black color, something like that. Then I'm okay. Then I'm good to go. Now if you notice, you're not seeing any changes. First of all, because this image is on top of the actual image, and also secondly, because the remember here is transparent because the opacity here is 0, so you can take the opacity to 100%, and then like this. So let me double click and then change the color. So the first color here and the last color here are supposed to be the same. Hey, so let me delete this mistake. Okay, so you have this. So the first color here and the last color are supposed to be the same. Why the one in the middle will as this gradient that you're seeing like that. So it's going to create this type of gradient. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. So if I hide this now, you're going to see something like that. All right. Now when I have something like this, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to see how I can actually add this yellow here, and this kind of yellow here. So what am I going to do? I'm simply going to first of all, I'm going to hide this layer, the actual layer here. So I'm going to come down. Please let me delete all these other ones so you don't get. Okay, so you have this. So I have just these two now. So this is my actual picture that I'm sampling from, and then this is my background that I just created. So what I want to do now is to create this, and then this thing here. So there's several ways to do that, but then let's just do let's use brush to be able to create this one. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just click on the background. So I can rename it and call it background. I'm going to call it BG, as in BG. Okay, so I'm going to click on this background here, and then I'm going to add an empty layer. So if you so down here, where you have this this square with the plus inside, I'm going to click on it. It's going to create an empty layer. This is an empty layer. If you look at the layer, there's nothing there. See, there's nothing inside the layer. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make sure that this layer is selected. So I'm going to call it lighting. I'm going to call it lighting. So now on the lighting, I'm going to click on my brush. First of all, I'm going to click on my brush. Now make sure that up here, when you click on this brush here, on this brush size here, this is the brush size. So you can actually make it a little big. I'm using 380. So depending on what you intend to get, you can also use it. So I'm using 380, and my hardness here is 0. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come down here. My foreground color, I will change it to white. Sorry, to yellow. I'm going to change it to yellow, a little bit kind of yellow. So after when I'm done, I will just click OK. So now I'm going to click somewhere here like this. I'm going to probably click several times. Okay. Now you are seeing it's not really coming out clearly because my flow here is 0, is 56%. So I'm going to take it to 100%. Then I have to have something like this. So I can also click here to have something like this. So now if you can see here. Oh, okay, so it's somewhere here. So I'm still just selected. I'm going to just click somewhere here like this, and then just once, and then see the result. So again, what I'm going to do is that I can just simply take down the opacity of this to have something like this. I can take down the opacity to have something like this. So let me say 60. Let me put it at 60. Voila. So I'm opacity at 60. So and then I have something like this. So now if I look for my picture, if I bring my picture and paste it here, okay, this is my actual picture. If I bring my actual picture and paste it here, so I'm going to use the automatic way to remove the background, which is going to selection, right click on selection and take object selection. It's object selection. Once you click on object selection, just click on select object up here. So it's going to be automatically selected, and then just click on your layer mask to add a layer mask on it, so then it disappears. Now the next thing here is for you to be able to have some kind of fade. If you look at the actual one, see this kind of fade here. If you look at it, this is fading here. So how do you fade that? It's very simple. Now there are several ways to do that, but we're going to look at the first two ways in which you can actually achieve this. So first, let's add a gradient mask. Sorry, let's add a gradient on top of it. Let me just drag this and put it right down. So let's add a gradient on top of this, on top of the actual image. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come down here to adjustment layer, click on it, then go to gradient and click on it. So see, look at what happened here. So you get some kind of fade gradient here. You are seeing this yellow here because my foreground color here is yellow. Please let me know if you are seeing my screen very well.
Yes, I'm seeing it.
All right, thank you. Okay, again, so far, is there any question before I proceed?
For me, no question.
All right, please let me know if you have any question. Feel free to stop me. Okay, so now you are seeing this yellow here because my foreground color here is yellow. This is called the foreground color, while the red behind there is called the background color. So my foreground color here is yellow. So I'm going to change it to black. So I'm going to click inside this gradient, as we usually do. Double click on it and then change the color to black like this. Then I'm going to take OK. Now also here, I'm going to also change the color to black too. Because if you look at it, if you look at the actual image here, it's not really clean. It's not really clear enough. It's kind of having some kind of I don't know how to call it, some kind of yellow on it. So I'm going to change this other one here to black as well. Same thing, double click on it and then change the color to black. Then once I'm done, you can see the difference now. I can click OK. Then I click OK. So that's how this works. So you can see the before and the after. Now, if you feel like, okay, let me just increase the size of my picture actually. Increase the size of my picture like this. Voila. So once I'm okay, now let me not take it because I need to write behind it. So let me put like this and then okay. So if you feel like it's too much, you can come back here and double click and then just click. Once you double click, this window is going to open. Then just drag it down a little bit like this. Now, so the next thing now is for you to change the blending mode of this your gradient here, the blending mode of this gradient to multiply. Make sure you change it back to multiply so that it blends. So you can see the before, the after, before, after. So you have something like this now. Okay. So now the next approach, this is the first approach. Let me hide it. The next approach now is for you to actually put this in a group. So I'm just going to select it. I can just drag and drop on top of this group here, to create a group automatically. Let me drag and drop on top of this to create a group automatically. So you create a group and put the picture inside. So if I hide the group, see, it disappears because inside this group. So I'm going to call it image. Okay, now on this image, now I'm going to create what we call a layer mask. Let me create a layer mask on it. Now the layer mask is simply just like normal, just like masking, you know, like where you take a mask and cover your face with it. That's how this layer mask work. With the layer mask, you are simply hiding some part of the images while leaving some visible. For example, let's say if you look at this, if you look at the layer mask, it's actually white because everything, it means that everything on that layer is visible. Now if we, let's say we invert it by pressing Ctrl I, you see everywhere is black, meaning no that layer is not visible. No part of that layer is visible. Like all the layers, all this entire layer here is invisible. That's why when you change it to black. So let me switch it back to white by pressing Ctrl I again. So everything now becomes visible. So now I'm going to click on it. Make sure that it's selected. Not the actual layer, but just this particular thumbnail. This particular layer mask thumbnail here. Make sure that it's selected. So you come down to your gradient here. Make sure that you click on gradient. If you don't know the gradient, if you cannot find it, make sure you click letter G. It's going to automatically select it. If you don't see the right click and make sure that you choose gradient. So once I choose gradient, make sure that up here is from black to white, not from white to black or any other gradient that you have here. If you see any other gradient, make sure that you change it to black and white. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to go to basics. So I click on black and white like this. So once I'm done now, I will just come and click down here a little bit outside, and then I drag inside like this. You see, once I drag inside, so you see it fits the actual image. And then give some kind of nice blending. Let me say, for example, if I turn this off, and then maybe let me just say I create a new solid color, a solid white color. Let me say I say the solid white color or any other color. Let me just use this one. So you see what happened. So you mean that it's hiding some part of this image. So that's how masking works. So masking simply hides some part of the image and leaves some open or visible. That, like, if you look at this layer mask, see, this is the actual image. Don't forget, this is the image here. See, this is the image here. So now the reason why this is like this, because if you look down here, if down there is some kind of black moving, transitioning into gray, and then finally into white. So black transitioning into gray, then finally moving into white. So the white here is the visible part, white, black here is the invisible part. So just like I was saying earlier on. Okay, so that's it. So that's actually the second way in which you can actually achieve this. You can actually achieve this dark part here. Also, you can use brush tool. You can also use brush tool to brush. All right. So let me just put it back behind there and then delete this, and then activate this back. So you have something like this. So now you can go ahead and add your text, and then whatsoever. All right. Let me know if there's any question, please. Also, let me know if it is well understood.
Yes, well understood. I was writing. It's okay.
All right. Please, is there any other question? Please let me know if you have any other question.
No. Oh, for me, I'm fine.
All right. So the next assignment now. Okay, now this leads us now into our one of our main topic that we're going to cover. We're supposed to cover today, which is a color correction. Now, looking at this actual flyer, if I have to put this on the background, I know some of you did not do the color correction, but now, if you notice, this color, this actual image here does not match with the background. It's true of us.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, as a designer, it's for you now to match this with the actual background. To match with the actual background. So first of all, now how do you do this? First thing first, let me just delete this other one. Now, as a designer, the color grading should be the last thing that you should do when you are designing a flyer. Color grading should always be the last thing. Reason being that you have already decided which color you are choosing as your background, because you are color grading with respect to your background. That's how it works. Because if at some point I decide to change the background, it means I have to change the entire color grading again. So it means I have to start again from scratch, which is tedious. So color grading should always be the last thing that you should do when you've already finalized with the background that you're supposed to use. So let's imagine that this is the background I'm using and I'm supposed to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that it means that I need to make this image to move towards red. It means that I need to make sure that the color balance is toward this background, which is red. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just simply click on my image, make sure that I select my image. Let me drag this behind so you don't get confused. Remember, let me just drag it behind like this. All right. So I'll just click on my image. Also, let me just delete this inside this. Let me just take this out. Let me just leave it even. So I will just click on my color adjustment layer, and then I'll go right down to color balance. That's what I usually use, color balance. Now with the color balance, now I'm just simply going to drag this towards okay, please, now when you drag this, make sure that you clip it first, because if you don't clip it, it's going to affect the background. Look at it, it's affecting the background. So make sure that you clip on the actual image. So I'm going to right click on the color balance and I clip it on the image. Create clipping mask. It clips it directly on the image. So whatever you do here affect only the image. See, it doesn't affect the background. So make sure that you clip if you want it to affect just the background. So first, I'm going to play with this by moving it maybe towards yellow. Then this one I move it maybe towards red, and then this one too move it towards red. So you see, so you have something like this. Let me see. Yeah, something like this, and then let me see, something like this. So yeah, so can have something like this now. So this is just for midtones. Now midtones is where is the mixture of highlight and shadows. The mixture of highlight and shadow. Now if you right click on these midtones, now you see shadows. Shadows are the darkest part of the picture. The darker part of the picture, we call it shadow. So I'm also going to play with shadow a little bit like this. Please don't overdo it. So play around it. So I'm going to now, since I want to make it to be kind of warm with respect to the background, on the yellow I pull it toward the yellow to make it, because now remember when we started the class we said blue makes your design cool. It look cool, like it's in has like low temperature, for example. Now yellow makes it look warm, same as red and a green. Now so I need to make it to look warm. So I need to pull this toward yellow, and then also here I pull it toward magenta, like you've seen it here, and then here I pull it toward red to make it really look warm, and hot, because the background is really hot. So if I click on before, you see, then after, before, after, you see it changes. So I'm going to go again to the last one, which is highlights. Highlights are the brightest part of the picture. So I'm going to also click on it, and then I'll adjust as well, and then same thing here. So you play around it a little bit. If you feel like it's too hot, you can actually reduce the temperature of the highlight. So there's no direct formula here. So you work with respect to what you have in front of you, and also please don't overdo it. If at the end you feel like it's too much, what you can do is that you can reduce the opacity here so that everything works. So let me see if I undo. See, before, after, before, after, before, after. Is that okay? All right. So this is how you color balance your flyer with respect to your background. So now see something. This is what I was. See, look at what I was saying. Imagine that you've created this. Now you want to change the background again, for example. So you want to change the background. Let me just click on it and change the background to something else. Let me say I change the background to, let's say, blue. Now this becomes something different. This is no more blue. This becomes something totally different. Let me just turn this off. It becomes something totally different, because it means that I need to go back here and color grade. Look at, if I click on it, you see it's even better. It's even better without the color grading than having the red color grading, this color grading here. So you see. So that's the reason why I said it's good to always, to first of all, make sure that you're okay with the background, so that once you color grade, you don't change anything again. So please always take note. All right. So that's it. Now with the other one, with the other assignment, was there any issue? With the other assignment, was there any issue, please? Like this one.
On my side, no.
On the restaurant flyer, I have just one problem.
Okay, what was the problem?
On the right, top right.
The restaurant flyer. Okay, this one.
This one, yes.
So how was the main issue?
The top right, there was this little, I don't know if it's just like a star or X, which were put in a grid. So
okay. Actually, you can actually download that online. I never expected you people to put that. You can either create it or you download it online. They call them geometric shapes. So you can just go to freepik.com and you type geometric shapes. You're going to see it. So you're going to see them there. So you download now. I can download and put them here. But then, so this is the actual flyer. Yeah, so they are called geometric shapes. You can download and put, same as you could create it. It's not even difficult to create. It's just X, and then duplicate, and then you're good to go. So this is the actual flyer. Now, that also brings us to the next thing I was supposed to do today, which is working with text. All right. So first we're going to create a. Let me just delete this. So have a new. Then I'm going to take all of this off. Delete this. Okay, I'm left with just my background. Okay, let me see. My background here is just simply white. Okay, so let me just quickly add a text. Let me say class, and then I'm going to use impact. This type is impact is free. It comes with your computer, so you can always use it. Impact. I'm going to type in caps. I'm going to call it tutorial. Okay. Then I'm going to change the color to something different. Let's see, red, pink. Okay, let me scale that. Okay, now let me also give the background a different color, something different. Let me give it less, like a yellow, something. Give it a yellow like this. Okay, now first thing first, I'm going to once I double click, I'm going to have something. This window is going to pop up. This window is going to pop up somewhere. Now, the very first thing here, let me try to see if I can scale it. Scale it, because this one does not scale. This is actual size. Okay, so let me just drag and put it down so that whenever I do something, you should see it. Okay, now this one, let me readjust it so that when I do the changes, you should be able to see it. Let me put this one up here like that. Okay, double click, and I have this. Okay, now the very first thing here that I want to show is bevels and emboss. See, if I click on bevels and emboss, you see what is what happened here. So it kind of, if you're working with, let's say, movie title, you should be using this kind of this kind of text manipulation here. It's kind of text effect, add effect on text. So my bevels and emboss have different properties here. So first of all, the very first one here is the inner bevels. So I can change it to outer, which is, I will affect just the outer part. I can change it to emboss, which you see, and I can change it to pillow emboss, and then stroke emboss and stuff like that. But then by default, you always have this inner bevel. So you can play with depth, and then you see the difference. Don't always overdo it. Now you are seeing this one here because it's soft. I change here to soft. It's making this look soft, And then also the size not too much. If I take the size down, you see this what happen. If I take the size up, you see this what happen. So I usually just play along with the size a little bit. So this actually make my design to look, my text to look soft. So you can change the direction up and down like this. And then you can also add this softness in it to make it look like a balloon, something like that. So now yes, this see this shades here is because of this black that you're seeing here. So then I usually don't touch it, but then unless you have something in mind, so you can actually always tweak all these things here. So now let me go to the most important one here, which is the very first one, which is stroke. So if I don't want these bevels, I'm just going to untick it here and it disappears. So I'll go now to my stroke. If I click on stroke, now you are seeing this stroke. You are not able to see the actual effect on this stroke because the color here is red. So let me change it to white. So this is in here. So you can increase the stroke value to however you want, depending on what you intend to get. So sometimes I just play with it a little bit. MTN designers, they are good at this. Those designing for MTN, they are good at when it comes to putting this using this stroke, because that's part of their brand identity, stroke. So that's it. So something like that. So you can actually add it like this, and then you can also change the direction, the position of the stroke. It could be outside, or like the outside, like as you're seeing here, or inside, like this, or you could put it at the center, in between, inside and outside. So most of the time we usually work with outside. I really like outside. Now another thing here to note is that you could actually change from color to a gradient. For example, if I click here, I'll be able to change from this normal color to a gradient, or to even a pattern. So you see a gradient here. Let me see, I can just want to select the image, one of the gradients I've created before. I'll just go down and click on it. You see, have something like this. So that's it, but I don't want it, so I don't want a gradient. So I'm just going to continue working with my normal color. So that's it there. So another one here which is very important is color overlay. Color overlay is also very important here. So if I click on color overlay, look at what happened. It's changing the color. You are seeing the color overlay here, color being changed is because here I have the actual color. This color here, which is this color that you're seeing up there. So let me say I want to change the color. You don't need to click on it and then give it a different color, like this. Now this particular color overlay is very important because that's where you change the color of a pattern. Imagine that you are creating you're designing, and then you want to download icons. That's why you change the color of an icon. Sorry, not pattern. Color of an icon. Let's say you are working on a flyer, and you need to insert let's say logo, and then normally as a part of the design. Remember we talk about some rules that govern designing. I think the last one was one of the last the rules was the aspect of everything being the same, the aspect of repetition. So let's say you want to you are maintaining the same brand color, so and you download WhatsApp and it comes in green, and then maybe the brand that you're working with is kind of maybe red. So also all you need to do is just double click on it, and then bring it in here, double click on it, and then give it the color overlay of whatever you want, and make sure that the one that you download is transparent. So when you just give it that, everything is just the same. You see the exact exactly. So but then I'm going to import some icon here, so we'll look at it keenly. All right, so this is actually where you change the color of your icon. Please note it. All right, because this is actually where you change the color of your icon. So that's it. So next, the next one here is gradient overlay. So you must be using these two. So now note that if I click on gradient overlay, you will not see the difference because this color overlay is hiding it. So I'm going to hide the color overlay back, and then I leave my gradient overlay. So this is my gradient overlay here. I can change the gradient to whatever I want. So here I'm going to click on it and then give it a gradient of whatever I want. Choose my gradient. So these are my gradients I've already created. Last class I showed how to create these gradients and save them, so you can always use it later on. So this is my gradient here. So I'll choose them. Once I'm okay, I'm just going to click OK. And then the very last one here that we're going to look at is let me just choose something that is bright now. The very last one here that we're going to look at is drop shadow. Drop shadow here is also very important because you always be using them, starting from designing. Because if you look at the restaurant flyer that I gave you as an assignment, it has those drop shadows. So those shadows that I've seen on those circles are called drop shadows. So how do you apply the drop shadows? All you need to do is just to right click on your text, come down here and apply drop shadow. Click on drop shadow. you just come down. Now you work on these settings here, so you could add the opacity or reduce the opacity. Now make sure that here is black, because it's always, now this color here is not constant. It must not always be black, because sometimes you need to make it even look like the main color itself, something like this. That's actually show that it's a gradient. Actually show that it's a shadow, but then you can always use black. So most of the time I usually use black, or somewhere between almost black. Actually use black. So now you can also tweak the distance, to see the changes. Look at the changes. So when you tweak it, so make sure that you work on the distance, and also adjust the spread, depending how you want it to look like. Now this spread here, simply control the softness. You control the softness here. So now you have something like this. You have something like this here, and then you can also work on the size. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay, let me see. Okay, please let me know if everything is okay. Please, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me go back there. There was some kind of fault. Let me go back there. So we're on drop shadow. So on this drop shadow now, you can always tweak it to get what you want, depending on what you intend to get. So I'm going to make it. I like it to be soft. So I like it. I don't always like it to have to be too visible. So I have something like this, So yeah. So that's my shadow. So you can always work on this shadow. And then now once I'm okay, I just click OK. So please note that the values here are not always standard like this. They're not specific values. You can always tweak with respect to what you intend to get, and you can also adjust the shadow by using this angle here, or you can even move it around here, to whatever how you intend to get it. Depends on you. So yeah, so I'm going to click OK here. So once I'm done, this now my text now with shadow on it. Now the very last one here now is text with like a glowing text. So how do I do that? Now let me just quickly create I'm just going to create a new solid color and cover everything. Let me give it a solid color or some kind of black background. Let me give it some kind of like a black background, so something like this. Okay, so I'm going to take OK. I'm going to come down here and add my text. Oh, so you've seen this text. Let me just hide this one. Let me hide this one. Okay, so let me add my text. Let me call it tutorial. Okay, you're not seeing it because it's below, so let me take it up. Tutorial. Now I just made it all caps, so by clicking on this double T here. Okay, so now I have something like this. So I want to make this thing to have some kind of glow effect on it. So I'm just going to double click, and I'll go down to, let me put it here. So then I'll go down to glow, outer glow. Now you see here, yes, you're seeing the effect. But then normally, when something is glowing, it takes the actual color, not something different. So I'm going to click on this color here and sample it. So I have this kind of glow here. So with the glow, I'm going to go toward white, so that it makes the glow really look nicer, like this. Please be careful with glow like that. You don't need to over add the opacity and also over work on it, because you can work on spread and also work on the size. So that's how you create the glow text. Now with this, now you can also work with the inner glow as well. The inner glow still works. So with the inner glow, I can use white here, and then I can just make sure that the blend mode here is screen. I can just add it a little bit like this, and then I can just come down here and add a little bit of the size. No, not too much, just a little bit. Then this choke, you can take it down a little bit, and then make it softer. And then also the range, you can also adjust the range here. Now just tweak it to work the way you want. That's the essence. To work the way you want. Now So once you are okay with the drop shadow, with the shadow, once you're okay with it, you tell okay. So you have your glowing text now. Now if you want to make it really glowing, so what you need to do is that you can add the glow behind it. You can add this same color behind it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click here on the background. This because this is like my background. So I'm going to click on it because this is the black that you're seeing here like this. And I'm going to click there. I'm going to add an empty layer. I'm going to call it background glow. Background glow like this. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select my brush. When I select my brush, I'm going to increase it a little bit. I'm going to increase by right click inside, then add the size of your brush, or you can go up here and add the size of your brush. So I'm going to add my size to, okay, no, this one is too much. Voila, I think this one works for me. So now I make sure that my foreground color here is this same color is yellow. It's this pink that I'm seeing here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this foreground color, and then I'll sample this color here, and take OK. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come on, make sure that your background glow empty layer here is selected. So I'm going to just click here like this. See, it adds the glow. So what I'm going to do is that I will take down the opacity of that background glow like this. I'll take down the opacity of that background glow. So you see now your text is really glowing, as you can see. It's really here glowing. So far, is there any question, please? So this is how I can create the glowing text. So remember, you can as well, you can always change this to your name. Let's say I can change it to, let's say what name should I give? Let me say class. I can change this to class like this. So whenever you change it, it changes. So it stays like that. So that's how glow work. All right. So let me know if you have a question. Any question, please?
No question on my side.
Okay, please. Anybody with a question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So the next thing here is for us to look at how do you let's look at these properties here. Like, how do you work with an image? You don't when they give you an image, you don't just use it like that. You need to at least make sure that you sharpen, make sure that you brighten it to really look nice, color grade it very well. So how do you do it? Let me show you some of my secret, what I used to do. So let me just take, I'm just going to take this, delete all of this that I've created, that I've worked on. Let me just delete everything. So I'm going to look for a picture. Let me see if I have any picture here. Let me see if I have any picture that I can actually use. Let me see, is there any picture? Okay, there is none. Okay, let me just go back. Let me look for a picture on my desktop. Let me look for a picture on my desktop. Look for picture on my desktop. So I'm going to come to my desktop, my downloads, and look for picture. Okay, let me just work with this girl. Remember, I'll be using her, so let me just work with it. Let me go back to my empty layer that I've created. Oh shit, on my here. No. Okay, let me just block on it here. So I'm going to click and then just drag and I drop. Okay, drop it here. Scale it. Just scale it, and then I'll quickly remove the background by doing automatically. Remember, you click on, make sure that you're on select subject, select object, and then click on select subject. It automatically select. Please note that this only work when you are using latest version of Photoshop. I think like from 2021, something like that. And then also work very well if your picture is sharp like this, if the picture is clean like this. But if the picture was taken in the market with your mobile phone, just know that you need to take time to cut it out. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me just click OK. So now this is my actual picture here. Now when they give you a picture like this, it's good, but then you need to actually, first of all, you need to work on the brightness and the highlights and then the shadows and all this other stuff. So whenever I have this, and whenever I have something like this, firstly I'll just go back to my adjustment layer. I click on it and start with the brightness. So most of the time I usually just play with the brightness, increase the brightness a bit. Remember what I said, you need to clip it because look at what is happening. Once I increase it affects even plus the background. See, it affects plus the background. So how do I solve this problem? I'll come here back here and right click on my brightness and shadow, and then make sure that I click on create clipping mask so that it clips directly on top of my image. So whenever I'm doing any changes, it doesn't affect my background, as you can see here. Alright, so I'm going to increase it. I'm going to increase it like this, a little bit, 34. So you can see the before, after. Okay, so I'll also increase my contrast a little bit. Now the next thing is that I'm going to click back on my background, on my actual image again. Then I go down my select subject, my adjustment layer, sorry, and then I click on levels. Next one, levels. Now with the level, now I'm going to pull this here. Look at this. I'm going to pull it to I'm going to pull this one here a little bit to the right, and then this one here I'm going to pull a little bit to the left, like this. Look at it before and after. See, it actually sharpens my design. So if at the end you feel like it's too much, you can always take out the opacity. You can always take down the opacity here, like this. Put at 80. All right. So you have something like this. You can see the before, after. So you see that they actually work on the highlights and the shadow actually. But what if I don't want this to actually affect my entire picture? Like maybe I want to apply it just on the hair. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to press select this smart, because it's called smart object thumbnail, or sorry, layer mask thumbnail. It's called the layer mask thumbnail. So I'm going to click on this layer mask thumbnail of that particular effect, which is at this point is level. So I'm going to click on it and then invert the selection. Invert the selection, which is when I click on invert, it means that everything on this layer is hidden. If I click again, you will not see any before and after. Look at it. Nothing changes. Before and after, nothing changes. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to select back this layer mask thumbnail here. I'm going to choose my brush. I make sure that the color of my brush here is, the foreground color here is white. So remember it's too big, so I'm going to take down. Right click and then I reduce the size like this. Let me increase it a little bit again. Like this. Now I make sure that the foreground color here is white and you're on this. You're here. So I'm going to pen on the actual hair. You see. So I want this to affect just the hair, not the body. Like this. So if I click before, you see before and the after. I see before and after. See. Okay. Now what if I want to invert this instead? So I can just take invert. So once I invert this now, instead affect the body instead. See. And then the hair is no more affected. Look at what happened. So that's how these levels work, and that's how the layer masking work. This is called layer masking. So this hidden part here means that it's not affected. Now the white part here means that it's affected. So this layer is only visible to this white part. It's not visible to this black part, this dark, the proportion, the part that you're seeing here. All right. So that's it. So the next one that I'm going to work on is let me select back again my object, my image. I'll go down again. The next one, curve. This is one of my favorite. In fact, this is my favorite here. That's what I usually go to. In fact, that's my go-to. So what I usually do here, what I usually do with this curve here is that I'll just let me put it here so you see it clearly. So what I'm doing is that I'll just click at the center and pull it up a little bit. Now depending on what you intend to get. So what I do is that I'll just come here and I pull it up a little bit and then pull this one down a little bit like this. So these are my retouching secrets when I do like this. So I don't do. So I take this up the center a little bit up, and then I take a little bit, not too much, please, so that we don't have too much. It's not so that it's not really having too much highlights. Then I take this one down. I take this, so it's just simply sharpen my image. You make my image look nicer. See, before, after, before, after. So this after, now this before, so you can see. So same thing. If I don't want this to affect my entire image, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to click here and invert it, and then I start painting where I want it to affect. Like for example, I want it to affect just this highlight here. I want it to affect this highlight here. I want it to affect this part here, and then I want it to also affect this part here. You know, that's how you see when most of these big company, when you treat their image, you see it's really standing out. You know, it's because of this highlight and shadow like this. Working on just on the highlight and the shadow. If it's when I feel like my brush is too big, I'll reduce it. Then I'll just paint somewhere here like this. like this. Maybe I can just paint somewhere here like that. So if I see the before, after, it's like this. So that's how you can touch up image a little bit. So if I had all of these three, see how it looks like. So this is the before. See, this is the after. Look at the before, after. All right. So that's how I usually do it. Now, next one. Let me click on it again, and then I'll add my. Okay. Now, please be careful with this exposure. You only ask exposure if the image is too dark, and also with the exposure, don't overdo it. Just add a little bit because it's really powerful. See. Just +2 is really powerful. So just exposure should just be as small as possible if you intend to add it. But most of the time, I usually don't add it. I just don't use it. I don't usually use this exposure because it's always too much. So you can check it again. Okay, it just enhance it. So it's just 0.06 here, which is still not bad. So now the next one I'm going to add also is click my image again. The next one I'm going to add here is what's it again? Okay, vibrance. Okay, now this vibrance I don't usually use it as well, but then you can only tweak it, use it when you feel like it's necessary, but then it's not really necessary at this point. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to just add a little bit, look at what happened. You just add too much warm, and too much. When you take it to the right, it adds that warm temperature. In fact, that high temperature. And when you take it down, it reduces the temperature. So you can just add it a little bit, maybe to enhance the temperature of your design. Now, remember that I'm working on this as well based on the background that I'm having, because the background is actually warm. So that's why everything is just looking warm like that. If I was using yellow, all this setting will also be different. So please take note. So now this is the saturation. If I take down the saturation, it becomes black. If I take it up, it becomes something like this. So please be careful when you're using this. So let me take down the saturation a bit to -2, and I'm good to go. Okay, now the next one is the next one here is hue and saturation. Well, this is one of my favorite. Now when we start looking at how to change the color of a dress, you will start seeing how powerful this hue and saturation is. But like I said in the first class, hue is just a single color. Hue stands for a single color. So be very careful when you're using hue. So look at what happened. It's very powerful. So look at what happened. So be very careful. So remember that the actual value is 0, unless you want to add a little bit or move it toward something totally different or something like this. Then you can always touch it. Please be careful when you're using it. So let me just add like a -3 on it. Okay, now this is also another trick that I usually use. This is also another trick. Now, when I feel like my image actually has a lot of red in it, like if you see this picture actually has a lot of red in it. So what I'm going to, and then I want to take it down. Let's say, for example, it has too much red and I want to take it down. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to make sure that my hue and saturation is activated. Then I come to master, click on this master, then go down to reds. Now when I click on red, I'll come to saturation. Then I'll take it down. See, when I take down the red, see you notice that this image will actually made up of red. See, it takes down all the red in this image. So if I intended to add the red, I'm just going to take it up like this. See, it adds the red. So, but then I feel like the actual red was okay. Or let me just take it down a little bit like this. So that's how it works. So if I also feel like it was yellow instead, I'll click on yellow. I'll also take down the yellow a bit. So if I take down the yellow, if I take down yellow, you see the change is not really much because it just the yellow there was not really that much. So yeah, if I take it up, you see this is the yellow like that. So the yellow was fine. So I'm just going to leave it at 0. I'm going to leave it at 0. So that's how you can change any image, any image. So, and this is also going to be very important when we start seeing how to change color of a dress or stuff like that. So I'm going to look at it. So let me, so you can see the before and the after, So that's it. Then the next one is color balance. I think color balance was already seen this, so I'm going to click on it again. So you just see how I would tweak it. So it matches with the background a little bit. So with the color balance, I'm going to pull this toward yellow. I'm going to also pull this toward green, to mix it because yellow is actually the mixture. Green is also the mixture of this yellow and blue. yellow and blue. Yeah, it feels green. So let me put this a little bit like that towards green. So you can also put it towards, depending on what you intend to get actually. So but I'm going to put this a little bit like this, and then this, something like that. So you can also see, so this for midtones. Since midtone is the mixture of highlight and shadow, so I'm just going to leave it at this midtone. But if you intend to go to all these other three, you can also go there. So you can see the before and the after, before and after. And then okay, once I'm done now, I'm going to add the next one again. Please note that I don't actually add all this in a single flyer, in a single design. But if there's need for all this, then you should do it. But if there's no need, please, all these are not really necessary. Few will be okay. Please note that. Now, then the next one here is black and white. So once I click on it, it automatically changes design to black and white. So if I need to actually affect the black and give me the black and white, I'm going to take it up. So you are seeing this kind of giving that kind of some kind of brown, black and white, because all this other color, if this color balance is color balance and vibrance that are also on top of it. So it's like remember layers. The one that is at the top is the one that is visible. So if I want you to have the pure black and white, I need to drag this black and white right up like this. So you see now you have the exact black and white, no more like before. So you can see black and white with yellow. Nice. Yeah, so that's it. So let me just hide it black and white. So let me go back now to my design. Please also know that you can actually tweak the black and white to whatever to get whatever you want. Like I can try to play on it like this, or take this down a little bit like this. If there's too much red, you can play with the red. On the yellow, same thing. Increase the yellow, play on it for with colors that are there. So you can actually play on it and get whatever you intend to get. Alright, so that's it. But I'm just going to hide it. I don't want it here. I don't need it for now. So let me go down, click on my picture again. Then the next one here should be photo filter. Now, whenever I design, I feel like the color is too. Now with the photo filter, like the word filter, it actually gives the different temperature of your design. For example, if I click inside here, and then I choose any, let's say warming filter, click on it. See, it gives me a different filter. Now you can, if you want to see the before and the after, just click on this eye. You see before and after. So the before and after is not really that big. Let me say I want to change it to, let me say I want to choose something cool, cooling filter. You see the different now. You can actually see the actual difference now. So you see before and after. So this cooling filter actually made the design to look cool. Actually changing the temperature of the design. So be very careful when you're using it. So if you feel like at some point you feel like it's too hot, it's too warm, you can actually add this cooling filter on it, and then maybe reduce the opacity or reduce the density down here or on here, so that it changes it reduces the temperature a little bit, so you can see actually look better now. So let me take it down a little bit, So the different filter here, you can actually choose any of them, but let me just end here for now. So the next one here is the next one here is a color mixer, channel mixer. I don't usually use this. It's still part of tweaking and all the rest. So you can tweak to get whatever you intend to get. It's not stuff like that. But then I don't usually use it. You can only use it when you feel like it's necessary, to have a particular effect on your design or on your flyer, stuff like that, to have a particular effect. All right. So if at some point, if you do something at some point, you don't want it to be, you want to go back to the original settings, you can just click on this R here. This R here, it just reset everything. The R here reset everything. So I'm just going to double click on it like this. So it reset everything. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is right now. So I'm going to click on it again and look, and then the next one, which is color lookup. This color lookup is very, very important. It comes with inbuilt filters. Once you click on this, once you click on this properties is going to pop up. So you can start changing the different properties here, like strip, and then you see the effect here. You click on 3 strip, say different. Click on bleach. Now this one is very important. If I'm working with I'm working on cover art, or I'm working on a movie flyer, I usually use it very well. So there are some cool ones here, and one of my favorite is this one, this Fuji 2250. I really like it sometimes because it gives me some kind of nice effect, and then all I need is to play with it. But if you notice it's giving me too much red. I don't know why. I don't want it. Let me see the next one. The next one is giving me but it's kind of swat. It's kind of giving me that that vibe that is kind of is whitish. But then you can also as well play with it, maybe by taking down the opacity a little bit, depending on what you intend to get. All right, so you can change it. There's so many of them here, so you can actually change it. Look at it to get whatever you intend to get. Different experiment. You can experiment some of them, so you see how it works. So yeah, so once you're done, you can just click OK. So we see stuff like this. You can just take down the opacity, to have something like this. So but then whatever you don't want anything, you can always click on this R to reset it. Yeah, so that's it. So that's how you work on with this. So like I said, please note this, you're not supposed to use all of this on a single flyer, on a single image. You can use few and leave the rest, because again, if your computer is not powerful enough, all these things are going to make your computer to be scratching and stuff like that. So please be careful. All right, treat it with caution. Okay, so that's how you treat an image. Please, so far, let me know if there's any question, please.
Yes, sir. I've learned a lot from this, but I wish to ask, what if you want to make the image sharper, like the skin tone?
Okay, thank you so much.
How do you go about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's also a very important question, and I almost forgot actually. Now let's do it. Let's make this image to actually look sharper. Now there are 3 ways. In fact, there are so many different ways to do that. But let me start with the first one. First thing first, let me select my image. Let me select my image down here. So what I usually do is that I'll click this image, then I'll go to filter. Then I'll go down to sharpen. Then I'll take sharpen more. Then take sharpen more. Now when you do like, you actually sharpen the image, so you can see the. Now, always before you do this, make sure that you always your image is always on smart object. It's always converted to smart object. If you're not converted to smart object, if you don't see this small smart object thumbnail here or smart object icon whatsoever, you can right click on it and take convert to smart object. So that reason being that once you apply any effect on this, you can always come back and edit it. For example, if you see I applied this sharpen on it, I can always come back and edit the sharpen, move the sharpen. You see, before and after. So that's it. When it's converted to smart object. So that's it here. It's actually sharpened, like right now. It's sharpened. If I zoom out a little bit, you see it's kind of sharp as compared to the way it was before. See, sharp. So if you could add more, but be careful. When you add more, you start making it look noisy. So be careful when you're using this. So now the second option is that, okay, I usually duplicate the image. I'll duplicate the image. Now I'll duplicate the image, then I'll carry the one that is below. I'll carry it up. I'll carry it right up. Make sure that right up like this. Make sure that the image, the one that you're working with, I'm carrying it right up because I have so many effects here. I don't want it to be clipped to that effect. So I want it to be alone. So I'll carry it up here. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first of all change the blending mode to linear light. Change the blend mode here to linear light. What is the linear light? Okay, here, linear light. I'm going to change it to linear light. Now when you change to linear light, you're going to have something like this. Now you go to filter. Now go down to others, high pass. Now when you go on others high pass, now make sure that you have something like this. Make sure that you have now this value here is not really standard because it depends on the quality of your picture, and it also depends on the size of your document. So there's no particular value here. But now what you need to understand is that make sure that you see this image at least inside here. You start see it, when you start seeing it, you stop. So I'm going to start increasing it. See, when you start seeing it now, you stop. You see, see this here almost visible. Make sure that you zoom it too. See, when you start seeing it like this, you stop. So this is how it looks like. So now it's kind of, it adds, it's sharpened the image again, so you can see the before and you see the after. Before, after. So this is how you sharpen your image. Is that okay? So this is how you sharpen it. Please let me know if that's okay.
Okay, I knew this other methods already. I was just trying to see if there is something new that I could do. It's fine, thank you.
All right, cool. So these are the main 2 methods. So you can actually use this. This is called frequency separation. Although we're going to look at frequency separation much more when we start doing image retouch. So yeah, so this is it. So that's how you can actually sharpen your image. So you can actually do this. First of all, even the first one that we did multiple times, but be careful. Be careful with the result. All right, so that's it. Okay, now let's mind that I want to add a background here. Let me see. I want to add any background here. Let me look for a background image or background picture. Let me see. Okay, let me see. I want to use this as a background, for example. What can I use here? Okay, let me just take this. No, let me take this one. Okay, I want to take this. I want to use it as a background behind this picture. I'm going to take okay, and then I'm going to take it down right below. Okay, so I have something like this right behind it, because remember it's a background. So since it's a background, you need to be right behind it. So what I'm going to do is that let me scale this a little bit again. Let me scale it. Pressing Control T, and then Alt option, then you scale. So it's scale from the center. All right. So now I have this. Now this thing is too sharp. The background is too sharp and it's distracting. So I want to blur it so that we focus on the picture, on on this girl. So what I'm going to do is that make sure that it's a smart object. It's not rasterized. Then you go up to filter, go back to blur, then go to Gaussian blur. And when you go to Gaussian blur, now you can actually blur it. Now when you go to Gaussian blur, this window is going to pop up. This window is going to pop up. So now you can actually adjust the blur intensity like this. So you can actually blur the blur intensity like this. And then once you're done, now you're good to go. So and then you can, if you don't want it to look like this, it should look like this exact color. You can actually play with the blending mode so that you have something that reflects the actual background that we used to have before. Because if you need to leave it like this, it means I need to colorate this image again, which is tedious. So I'm just going to make sure that this is selected, the actual background is selected, and then now you just play with the color, with the blending mode. Just be scrolling down, you see something that maybe will make sense. No, not too much. Yeah, actually like this one, it blends a little bit with the background, which is I'm using now. This one here is overlay, so you can go right down, you see whatever works best for you. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, I feel like this pin light is cool. So also I can take down the opacity of the background a little bit like this, so you have something like this. So that depends on you what you intend to get at the end, but then you can also always play with them. Okay, let me put that overlay. Yeah, so that's it with the background, adding in background and stuff like that. Okay, so far, is there any question? Please? Especially working with the background, working with the image, working with the text and stuff like that, because those are the bases, those are the foundation when designing a good flyer. Any question, please? Okay. Yeah, please go ahead if you have any question.
I said same here, I don't have a question.
Okay, thank you. So next, let's look at, now if you look at this here, up here, there's an issue. I'm seeing CMYK. Now CMYK here stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. That K stands for key, which is black. So now that CMYK is the Prince color. So to do this, you simply press command Y. So command Y. Now this CMYK usually cancels some colors that are not printable. It takes them off. So even when you send a flyer to be printed, they always convert it to CMYK before they print it, because that's the color that the printer understand. It doesn't understand this RGB. It understand only CMYK. That's why if you ever use a printer, you see the color here. It always has 3 colors. Is it 3? No, it was 4. So you always have the cyan color, the magenta. I mean, any printer that prints in color. You always see the black. You always see the cyan color, the magenta, the yellow, and the key, which is always black, and the black color. All right, so that's it. So going back here, so that's it. Now, next thing here should be, let me see. So we've talked about this. So now, if I now, as a good designer, when you're working with all these things, you need to always, make sure that you group them. Click on it like this. Make sure I select everything. So I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to click on the last one, so it's select, and I'm going to press shift and click on the last one, so it's select everything in between. So I'm going to now press command J, Control J if you're using PC. It's going to put everything in a single folder. So now you are seeing this because I did not say this black and white. This is the actual image, so I'm going to undo again and press control now, control, and then click on this actual image and then select it, group of them to all of them together. So you have something like this. So now you are seeing this because this, remember this, that high pass that we did that actually gave that sharpen. That's why you're seeing this here. So this one up here, see, stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. Okay, so remember, if you want to add your text, you can also as well always add your text. You can always add your text. Now let me add the one we did before, which is adding a gradient in front. So you have something like this. Gradient, where's the gradient here in front? So you have something like this. So remember, you can always change this gradient to something else, something that you want. So by just clicking here, change the color to black like this. Then something here, this one too, you can change it to also black as well. You can change it to white and just change it to black. So then I'm going to change the blend mode, the blending mode to multiply, so it softens it very well. Now if at some point you feel like it's really affecting the face of the image, remember layer mask, you can mask them out. Click on the layer, this layer mask thumbnail here, and then choose your brush. Now you change the color now to black so that you hide it, this part up here. Now remember, black means that it's not visible, so I'm going to click and then click on it like this. Remember, so I'm going to click on it like this to hide this part up here. This one is you mostly be using it. So if it's too much, you can also take that opacity of the brush. If the brush is too much, you can take down the opacity and then just bring it like this. I remember that you can always swap between this foreground and the background here. So I'm going to swap back to white and then pen to have it back here, something like this. So I can swap back again and retouch it a little bit. I can use the size of my brush as well and click somewhere here like that. Hey, take it down like this, something like that. I can also click here and then you have something like that. Can also increase it, then paint, brush up there like this. And now if you want to add your text now, you can say TGIF, thank God it's Friday, TGIF, like this, and just scale it. And I'm just going to scale it like this. Here you can give it any color of your choice, so you can give it a yellow color like this. Now you can also as well play with the, you can, when you change, like, you can as well play with the blend mode here. This called blend mode is start from normal, so you can just move down and see what happens. So you might be in this blend mode, so you should get used to it. Then you can just say happy weekend like this, and then you bring it down at the bottom. Maybe scale it a little bit. Okay, a little bit like this. Alright, then you're good to go. Say happy weekend. And then maybe you can, if you have a logo now, you can put your logo up here. Put your logo up here, so you have something like this. So this is for your happy weekend. If you don't like the black and white, you can as well turn off. Remember, you can always turn it off. This black and white is up here. Turn it off to have something like this. Alright, so that's it. Now let's look at how we can actually actually tweak your text a little bit. Now let's imagine that this tango that is tried, this TGIF here, let me say you want to give it a some kind of round effect on it. So click back on this picture, you have this option up here, a letter T on this round kind of curve. So click on it. Now this text is going to appear. They call it a warp text. So I'm going to click on it and choose arc, for example. So it has something like this. So I can just make sure it's something. You curve like +9. You can take it down like this or take it up like this. Now same here. You can actually tweak it like this. You can tweak it like this depending on what you intend to get. But please be careful. the way it's 2D will tell me whether you're an amateur or you're a pro. So be very careful when you're using this. Now you can also click inside and then you choose the next one, which is lower arc. So you have something like this. You know, this one I use it often. I use this particular design often, especially in concert flyer. You know, yes, so you can always tweak it depending on what you intend to get. So be very careful, like I said, when using it, because it determines whether you're a pro or you're an amateur. So sometimes it's just good to avoid it if you don't know how to use it very well. Yeah, so you can try this other. There are so many of them here, so you can try them. You know, to get whatever you intend to get. You can even change the orientation, depending on what you intend to get. So this flag here is one of my favorite. I usually use it. So everything here normally is supposed to be 0, 0, and then 0. So it's when I start tweaking them, I start seeing the changes. This one is it's called like a flag, like when it's passing. So this one is like a wave. So you can also tweak it and then depending on what you intend to get. Yeah, so you can actually try so many of them here. Inflate. This one is very common. Inflate is very common when you're working with when you're working on let's say on a label. You want to create a mock-up on the label. It's very important. So you can also use it when creating labels. So let me just go back to the first one. Let's lower act, and then just going to leave it like this a little bit. Just tweak it. Oh, now I'm going to change it back to horizontal, like this. You can leave it like this. Okay, and then now so that's it. Please let me know if you have any question, and also let me know if it's too much for you to comprehend. You can stop here, but let me know if it's too much or should continue. I'm hearing from you people. Is it?
For me, no, I'm okay. It's not too much.
I'm okay too.
Okay, so can we continue?
Larissa is not talking.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
Larissa hasn't said anything, so we should know if she's okay with it.
Larissa, are you okay? Are you okay? She's not talking. Okay. Okay. So since okay, so I think we can proceed. So let's just do some few stuff here. Let's do some few tricks here. You know. Okay, let me show you some few tricks that I usually do on my flyer. Okay, let me just create a new document. I'm just create a new document. 2000 by 2000 this time around. I'm just giving any few color of my choice. I'm just giving any few color. I like yellow. Yellow is one of my favorite color. That's why if you look all my flyers, it always contain yellow. I don't know why, but I always find myself having them. So yeah, that's it. So let me just create draw any shape here. Please also note that you can actually choose any shape of your choice here, like this. Now with the polygon, if I click on polygon, for example, if I click on polygon and I just click, they're going to add me the number of sides that I want. If I click on 2, if I click on, let's say 4, it's going to give me something like this, which is a square. If I click again, I click on 5. On 5, it gives me something like this. If I click and then I put 6, if I put 6, it's going to give me something different. Like so, that's how polygon work. So these things are not standard. So we see polygon. So you can just click and giving the number of sizes that you want, you know, and then it creates. So let me just delete this other one, this 2, and then let me remain with this one. So let me just scale it up like this, and then I'm good to go. So now you can actually increase work with this corner radius here. Let's see if I increase it like this, you have something like this. Now if I don't want this if I don't want this to affect, let me just delete this and draw a normal rectangle, so you see what I'm talking about. In normal square, if you see what I'm talking about. So this is here. Now if I just click all this, if I just click and drag, if I just make sure that this thing here is selected, so it affect all the sides. So if I just click and drag like this, you see it affect all the 4 edges. Now if I don't want it to affect all the 4 edges, what I'm going to do is that I'll just untick this here to unlink it and then add it here. So and then take this one up. So this one back, take this one back to 0, so that it gives me this sharp edge here. So I can take this one, I can take this, can click on this one like this, can add it. So let me say, let me just give it like, let me say 350 each, 350 pixels each, like this, and then so you have this something like this. So you can so this you can have something like this. So let me just bring my image and then clip it inside. Clip my image and clip it inside. Okay, my foot. Bring my foot and clip it inside. Okay, let's clip it inside here. Then I'm going to click OK, and then just right click and then create clipping mask like this. So now if I want to add stroke, I can just click on it again, make sure that I come here. Once click on it, if you don't see this here, these properties, if you don't see these properties here, you can always go to Windows, scroll down to properties, make sure that it's ticked. So I'm going to click on my properties. I'm going to add the color that I want, which is this. Let me just give it white. I like white. Click white, then I can give it the number of size that I want here, like this. Now this way, now I can add my shadow. So I want to add my shadow, double click on it, add my drop shadow. So I can adjust my drop shadow like this, the way I want. Remember, you can always click here and drag. When you make sure that this thing is selected first before you click and drag. So you can adjust your drop shadow, then adjust it the way you want. And turn down the opacity. Let me turn down the opacity a bit, you know, depending on what you intend to get. So you have something like this. Now, so you can have something like this. Now you can as well add your text. Let's say, how do you call it? I forgot how they call this thing. But let me just say wrap. I think it's something like wrap, like that. Say wrap like this. So now what if I want to make a little bit of this? So I usually took my text. Let me say I want to write this on a rectangle still. Let me say I want to write this on top of a rectangle. I'll type it, then I'll draw my rectangle like this. Now my rectangle is on top. I'll drag it down. I'll drag it directly below the text. So I'm going to change the color of my rectangle to, let's say, maybe red. Sample this red here. So take this red somewhere here, like this. So now I'm going to change the color of my text. So let me come back to my move tool, scale my text, change the color to maybe the color of the background, or I can give it the white color as well, like this. Now I'm going to select these two. Select. I'm going to click on the rectangle. I'm going to click on warp. Now I'm going to come here and make sure that I click on this. Now this also align them vertically, vertical center. Align the vertical center. Look at what happened. And then this one aligned horizontal center. Look at it, horizontal center. So this how it aligns like this. Now I'm going to pull it toward the center. Now they're telling me when I push it and then they show me this straight line, it means that I'm at the center. So I'm going to just pull it down a little bit. Now, how do I usually make sure like have my text, you know, some kind of like even orange, even most of these companies always do it, like play with it, like maybe make it look like as if it's slanting. So I'm with both of them selected here, I can just right click and create smart object. So now it's having a smart object. Now I'm going to press Ctrl T to select it. Then now I can right click on it and take warp. And I can right click on it and take warp. So with this warp now I can actually tweak it like this. The way I want. And tweak it the way I want. You know, I can make it look as if it's kind of dress. So depending on what you intend to get, so you can tweak it the way you want. So something like this. So yeah, I have something like this. So if I don't want it, you know, this is just one. Let me just copy this. Let me undo. Okay. So this is just one. Let me paste this one somewhere here. So you have something like this. Let me just keep it here. let's keep it here as 1. Okay, let me say I want to redo this again. So what I did is I just copy this and then undo, and then paste back. So that's what I did. So here I'm going to come back here and just press Ctrl T again, right click, and then I go down to let's say I go down to maybe let's say we even skew. Skew simply helps you to move in this direction, like have something like this. Which company is good when it comes to this in Cameroon? Which company always use it? I forgot. Now I'm just from seeing it. So you have something like this. Even MTN, they usually do it. Yeah, so something like this. Slant like this. Now I can also right click and then I go now to perspective. Perspective simply moving in a perspective. Let's say you want to make it look like a carpet, for example. You have something like this, you know. But then let me just undo it. And like let me go now to distort. So this is how distort works. We move in any direction, not like this other one. Not like perspective. Perspective has some kind of perspective, like actually makes it look real, but distort just move in any kind of direction. So you can move it the way you want, and then you can maybe start drawing it and make it look real, stuff like that. So this is how you can maybe create some kind of like a building and stuff like that, you know, depending on what you intend to get. So you can always play around with this design like this, you know. I know, make it look somehow like a shadow, like that, you know. Yeah, so that's how I can play around with design like this. So let me undo it. Let me just select these two, copy, and then undo to have the original one. Let me just paste the old one that I copied and then scale it down. You have something like this. Alright, so now the next one here, I'm going to select it, right click, select it again and press Ctrl T and right click, and then time around I can, like this one I was just from seeing, which is warp. So with this warp now you can tweak it just the way you want. Some other time usually just, if I want to make it look like a shadow, I usually just tweak it here a little bit, you know. You just tweak it a little bit to make it look different from the usual, because some of these things this actually some of the things, it's actually some kind of advanced text manipulation. It makes it look real. So you can actually do something like this and export and print it on your t-shirt. When somebody sees it, you'll be like, how did you do it? How did you do it? I know just how to draw a rectangle and type on top of it and blah 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 and stuff like that. So this is actually some of the tricks that I use, especially when it comes to designing cover art. I usually play along with this. Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to cover today is adding shadow. Adding actually the actual shadow, not this shadow behind it. Let me close this other shadow. Adding this extra shadow as if it's kind of, let me close this or this, and then let me just this one, maybe like that. Okay, so adding an actual shadow, I can just, now what I'm going to do is that, first of all, let me select this thing and make sure that it's centralized. So I'm going to select this too, make sure that I move it to the center. Okay, it's decentralized now. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just click my brush tool. Now make sure that my foreground color is black. Make sure that I make it black, and also make sure that make sure that I'm on my background here, and then I add an empty layer. I'm going to call the empty layer shadow. Double click on it and change the name to shadow. Now I'm going to also make sure that my foreground color is black, and I'm also going to make sure that my opacity is 100%, and then the flow here is 100% too. So I'm going to click on this brush here, and then I'm going to scale it down like this. This normally it's supposed to be like this here, so you can always click and readjust it like this, and I just click on it like this. So once I click on it now, just remember we are on this empty layer here called shadow. Make sure you click on it here, so you can just scale it. You can just scale it like this. If it's too much, if it's not really the way you want, if it's not really small the way you want, you can right click on it again and take thing distort, and then just pull it down like this a little bit again, and then pull it up a bit. Now you can reduce the opacity like this. So this are shadow of objects or of anything, as if the thing is hanging in the air. So that's how you can do it. Alright, so let me just delete it. Let me say I want to add maybe some kind of percentage. Let me just select this thing and pull it down a bit. Let me say I want to add some kind of percentage. So selecting, I just click outside and drag to select everything. So that's what I did. So let me just draw like this. Just draw like this, and then I'm going to add my stroke white, or let me say red. No, let me put white, and then instead red foreground, white, and then this foreground here should be red. Then I'll add my price. Let me say 2k, 2,000 francs. I'm just going to scale it down a bit to make sure that it fits inside this, like this. I'm going to drag it inside. I'm going to drag it inside, and then once I'm done, I'm just going to click OK. I'm going to click OK, like this. Alright, so I have something like this. So this is how you can actually add price on your design, on whatsoever. So you add the name. Okay, please let me know if you have any question. You can also add a stroke. You can also add the size of the stroke, like this, or we can even change the way the stroke appears, like this, or this. You can just leave it the normal line, like this. Okay, please let me know if you have any question. So what I'm going to do again, I'm just going to duplicate this ellipse tool again. Pardon? Please talk, I'm listening.
Okay, sir, one of the reasons why I registered with your class is I wanted to learn how you work with your shadows, especially what you're doing now. But the other ones, the ones you use in your flyers, let me just show a sample. Permit me to share my screen and show you what I'm talking about.
Okay, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, so this, I don't know if you have seen my screen.
Yes, I can see it now.
Yes, this effect, this shadow that you do is as if the rectangle is kind of flirting, you know, stuff like this. This.
All right. Okay. Like where I have this my number, contact, and then where I also have these dates, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right. So that's actually very simple. Let me show you. Let me just show you. It's very simple. It's way simpler than you think. Okay. Can we jump into it?
Sorry.
Can we jump into it? All right. Perfect.
I can't get you well, please.
Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so let me just quickly add it. So first thing first, you type your text. First thing you type your text. Let me just say tell, and then I add, or let me just say contact, and then I add my phone number. Let me say 673533427. Okay, something like this. Let me just change the color to black, something like that, and then I'm just going to right click here, rectangle, and then I just scale it down. I'll just put in a rectangle like this. Now measure the rectangles is directly below the text, so I'm do double click. Let me give it a white color like this. Okay, first thing first, let me also scale down the text as well, like this. Scale down the text like this. Okay, and let me also make sure that everything is centralized. Selecting both here, and then make sure that they're all well centralized like this. Voila. Okay, so once I have something like this, let me scale it. Let me increase it a little bit. It's too. Pressing Shift and Alt. Pressing Alt, scale from the center like this. Voila. Okay, I think that's fine. So I'm going to select these two first. First thing first, I'm going to select these two. The text and the background and the rectangle. I'm going to select them, right click, and create clipping mask. I'm going to clip them. Now I'm going to duplicate the clipping mask, this one again. So I'm going to call this one down shadow. I'm going to call it shadow. Now I'm going to also I'm going to double click on it. Remember what we said, color overlay. I'm going to give it a color overlay of black like this. Color overlay of black like this. Now there are different ways to achieve that. So first, the very first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my actual text. Please let me delete this other. Let me hide this other one so you actually see what I'm doing. Let me hide them. Let me put it in a single layer. So let me pull these two down like this so you actually see it. Okay. So now this is my actual text and this is my shadow. So on my shadow I changed the background to white. That's why you're seeing it like this, the white. I just hide this one. See, white. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this, my actual text here, and then I'm going to click on it. Now I'm going to I'm going to click on distort, and with the distort, I'm going to just drag it up like this. You see, so that's what I usually do with some. This is just another particular sample. I'm going to click on distort, have something like this. Now I'm going to go back to my shadow, add a layer mask on it, and then go to my gradient. Remember, we did this before, we've done this before. Go to my gradient, make sure that my layer mask is selected. So I'm just going to click on it like this and drag like this. And I'm going to just click on it and click and drag it like this. So you create this kind of shadow, kind of nice shadow. So you create this kind of nice shadow. Please let me know if that's it.
Yes, yeah, no point.
Is that what you asked?
Sorry, the network is really, I don't know, it's breaking.
Is that what you asked? Is your question answered?
Yes, for this one. But now, what if you want to make it to be on two sides? Like the one you did on the date.
Okay, now, with like the one I did on the date, let me just copy this one. Let me just copy it. And then copy. And then let me just undo to have the original color. So let me just paste this one and put it down here like this. Now, what if I want to have something like the one you said? Okay, like this. So now what I usually do is that I'm going to come here, click on my shadow. I'm going to pull it down a little bit like this. So, and then I'm also going to scale it, my shadows. Take note, I'm scaling my shadow, not the text. I will scale my shadow a little bit from the center by pressing pressing Alt, hold while scaling like this. So I'm going to click OK. Then now I'm going to right click on it again and then go to warp. Remember, I've done this warp before, so I'm going to click on it like this. I'm going to pull this here, then drag this down. Also drag this down like this. So once I'm done, I'm going to click OK. So this is it. So I'm just going to click it, take it inside a little bit. But now you've noticed it's a shadow, but it's really harsh. So how do you soften this shadow? I'm going to click, make sure that you are seeing on this shadow. Go to filter, move down to Gaussian to blur, go to Gaussian blur. Then give it a blur like this. So be very careful when you're applying it here. So once you're done, you take OK. So I'm also going to take down the opacity a bit, down like this. Now I can actually double click on the shadow again. Press Ctrl T on the shadow, sorry. On the shadow, and then I double click, I right click on it, and then I click on warp to actually adjust it a little bit again. Make sure that it suits what I'm working on, what I intend to get. Alright. So you have something like this. So if you feel like the shadow is the blur is too much, you can double click on the blur again and reduce it a little bit like this. And then let me adjust it again. Too much. Okay, so you have something like this, and then I can just reduce the opacity a bit. Then I can just drag it inside as well a little bit. Okay, let me know if that's also your question. If that answers your question.
No, it's fine. I'm satisfied with this.
All right, thank you. So that's it. So you can always play with it until you get what you actually want. Play with it very well, like this. Now the good thing when you convert it to smart object, not that you can always change it. You can always change the text. For example, if you double click on this smart object thumbnail here on your text, you can always change it here. You can always change it here. So and put this back here. You can always change it to whatever you want. You can even give it a different color, different yellow. You know what I want to get. You can even always change it. Even give it a different background. And also remember this is a rectangle, so you can always also give it a curve here. Curve the edges. Have something like this. Yeah. So once you're done, let me just change this to maybe something. Or let me just give it a different color, different text color by double clicking on it, then editing it here. Give it a let me see. Give it a different color. Like this. I think this works. Okay, let me give this color now black. So double click. Once you're done now, please when you're done here, save it. Takes Ctrl S. or you go to save, you go to file and take save, file, save, then you close it. Now you see the effect here. See how it works here. All right, please let me know if there's any question.
No question now. It's moving.
All right, is everything okay, Mr. Brain?
Yes, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
All right, please, any question? So I'm going to give some assignment. I think we can end here. If there's another question, we can end here for today. But please, if you have any assignment, you can send. So if you have any issue, sorry, you can send. So we trash it. So this is actually how you can play with this, stuff like that. You can change this text, change it to any color, change it. Now also, now the question is, what if I want to duplicate this? Because if you duplicate this and change it, for example, if I just duplicate this like this, just maybe paste out and then just drag, I duplicate like this, and then if I change the text, let me just say hello like this, for example, and then I save, and then I leave, I close it. See, it affects the two of them. Now, what if I want to duplicate it so that it affects just one? Let me just undo again. What if I want to duplicate so that when I change the text, affect just one? What I'm going to do is that I'm going to right click here, and then take new smart object via copy. Then just duplicate like this, and then just drag it down. Now this time around, I'm going to duplicate it. And then let me just change the number. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like this, and then I'm good to go. Take OK and I take save. So we see that this one now, it doesn't affect the first one. It doesn't affect it. Even if I intend to change the color to something else, this color to maybe say red or something here like this, change this other color to white, take OK, save. So it doesn't affect the actual one. So you can also as well duplicate the shadow by pressing out and then just drag, or you can take control this thing and control J and duplicate, and you drag it down. Okay, let me just pull it a little bit down like this. All right, so that's it. So please, if there's any question, you can ask. If there's no other question, you can call it a day. Any question, please?
No, for me.
No, sir.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to send an assignment in the group. So if you have any question, you do it and submit it tomorrow. So I'm going to check if you have any question. I think I've already catch up even. So I'm going to send an assignment. So we do it and submit it tomorrow. Tomorrow now I'm going to send another assignment to do it and submit it on Sunday. Now another assignment on Sunday. Now you submit it on Monday during class. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because the only way you can actually know this thing is if you are practicing every day. So that's why we need to be doing it, at least a single flyer a day. So please, if you see any of my flyer and there's something that I want to understand how I did it, please don't hesitate to send it to me and ask. Or any flyer that you see outside there and they want to understand, understand how they did it, the way they did it, the style, please always send to me. So we'll look at it together.
Okay,
Yeah. So I'll be showing you how to do stuff like this for some of you that don't know how to do stuff like this, and then design this kind of design for event and stuff like that. So we'll look at all of them together. So with that, we can say happy weekend to all of you, and happy and nice weekend to all of you.
Same to you, sir.
All right. You all take care.